So the first thing you're gonna do when you receive your amaryllis, you're gonna receive them like this in this box. You're just gonna open your box and unwrap them. I'm just gonna place this over here. Then with amaryllis, you have to keep in mind a few things. The first thing is you have to cut the amaryllis with a very sharp knife. I always use scissors, but with this specific type of stem, I prefer to use a very sharp knife. And always cut it in a 45-degree angle cut, okay? So you just take your amaryllis and cut like this. Again, so you're just gonna grab your amaryllis, and with your knife, how you should do it is maybe place it on the table and do the 45-degree angle cut. Right now, I'm just gonna do it on camera so you can see. Okay, so you can have like a fresh, very neat cut, so your stem is not damaged and is drinking water properly. Okay. While you cut the amaryllis, keep in mind on what type of vase are you gonna put your amaryllis so you don't go too short. So for example, I'm gonna put some of my amaryllis in a vase, in a tall vase, like this one. So if you're gonna use a very tall vase, we're gonna talk that about in a minute. You just cut it a bit. Okay, and you're just gonna do this with all of your amaryllis. So after you finish cutting all of the stems of your amaryllis, you're gonna start to put them into vases. Just remember, do not skip this step. You have to condition your amaryllis. By conditioning, I mean giving them a fresh 45-degree angle cut so they can have a proper hydration, okay? So after that, you're gonna choose the vase. Now, when it comes to a vase, there's a lot of common mistakes that people do with amaryllis. We're gonna make sure you don't do that. So the first mistake, people like just grab the amaryllis and just like crowd them into a vase. For example, if you do like this and try to put all of this amaryllis here, I'm sure they will fit, but they're not gonna be comfortable there, and they're just not gonna bloom. Amaryllis need quite some space for them to be comfortable, so they can just like open up as they should. This head is gonna turn into like a huge head, and like all of these blooms are gonna bloom individually, and it's just gonna be beautiful. So give them space. Okay, so for example, with a vase like this, just gonna place it. Okay, you could put it in a crisscrossed manner like this. Wait. So for choosing your vase, try to, if you cut them long, then try to use a tall vase. Okay. So you're just gonna put them in a crisscrossed order like this. If you see some like damaged petals, just remove them carefully. Okay. Okay, so this is my suggestion of how many amaryllis you should put in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I put 6 amaryllis here. If you crowd them more, they're not gonna have enough space to bloom. So this is my suggestion. I suggest that the box you get from the amaryllis, you spread them in vases. I'm gonna use some other lengths now so you can see. Okay, another common mistake people do with amaryllis is they put, like, for example, an amaryllis that's very tall in a very short vase. This will break your amaryllis stem as it starts to bloom. I'm gonna tell you the reason. The head of the amaryllis is gonna get quite heavy. So of course that's gonna make this stem to break, and the stem is gonna break, so no water is gonna get to the head and it's just gonna die. So you have to remember, proportion is key. you have to make sure that your stem is properly supported. So what you're gonna do, you're just gonna take your stem, better with a knife, you're gonna take your stem and measure it accordingly to the height of your vase. So I would say this is good. This is a good length. You can take out this damaged petal over here. Okay, I would leave like 3 amaryllis, maximum 4 for this size of vase. Remember, maybe at the beginning it's gonna look a little bit empty, but just remember these are gonna like triple their size. And the rest of my amaryllis, I'm gonna place them in a tall vase like this one. Don't worry if your stems are not exactly the same height. It's fine. It's actually gonna give your vase a little bit of more movement. So don't stress about that, because now, for example, this beautiful head is gonna bloom here, then this one over here, so it's just gonna have more depth. So don't worry about that. Don't obsess over that. So this is how I decided to arrange the whole box of my amaryllis. As you can see, if you spread them out in vases, you can like make sure you get the most out of them. Now for care guide, first of all, of course, put them in fresh cold water. And as the days go by, of course, the water is gonna get a little bit dirty. So what I recommend is that you just take your stems out, okay, and replace it with fresh water. Now, maybe the bottom of your stems are gonna start curling a little bit. This is normal, and this is because of the texture of the stem. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna give it a fresh cut, okay? Not too much, just like maybe 2 or 3 centimeters, and just place them again in the vase. Another tip is sometimes, even though you have the correct height, sometimes if you're seeing that the stem is getting like a little bit droopy, just cut it more and maybe pop it into a shorter vase so they have the proper support, okay? And just give it time. Maybe, for example, this stem, this petal is gonna bloom before than this one, and the last one is gonna bloom just like at the end of this bloom's lifespan. Don't worry, every bud will bloom on its own time. Just enjoy the beauty and the process of it. And if you have like some petals you want to remove, you can remove them with your hand, or you can just cut it with the knife. Okay. And that's it. I hope you enjoy these beautiful flowers.